Well, at least after all of Rise of Skywalker, at least we find out what happened to that kid with the Force powers at the end of Last Jedi. Oh. Well, hello and welcome to my review, my stunning review. This is going to be of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. The Rise? It's The Rise. The Rise of Skywalker. Great title, because it means so much sense, this title, to this movie, because is there a Rise of a Skywalker? I don't know. I've got to the point now with this trilogy. I've just kind of lost it now. But kind of continuation of what I do with my reviews. I talk about the good, I talk about the bad, and then I try and kind of keep my overall review, kind of most of the stuff at the end. So right now, yes, it's a spoiler review. Mostly because I forget that I've probably just said a spoiler, so I'd rather say right now it is a spoiler review, what I'm going to be talking about today. So yes, I just want to talk about the cast. Obviously, to me, I think the cast does a fantastic job. I think they're all great. I generally do think that. I love Daisy Ridley. I generally think is one charming actress. I really do. I liked her in all three movies. I know some folk have her doubters, I don't know what you want to call them, but there's some that just don't particularly like her. That's okay, but I really like her. I think she's really charming. I think she's great, and I particularly quite like her. Adam Driver I love. I think he is the best thing about the trilogy, and he's once again superb in this movie. Oscar Isaac's also really quite shined as well. I thought they did a little bit more with him, which I really quite liked. And then we get on to John Boyega's Finn. There's just nothing from, like I loved him. He's the best thing about Force Awakens, I think. I really liked his story. Last Jedi, that should have been his cue to go in the end. That would have been a great way to go. And here it's just like, I feel sorry for John Boyega because I like him. But there's just nothing here in this movie, I think, overall, for him, and just overall, just what's kind of going on with everything. And he doesn't really fit with the story. He doesn't really fit with, like, a kind of saying that, you can say that about most of them, but like they seem to just gel better. I don't know what it's up with. I think because I think we all felt Finn should have kind of went with Last Jedi, so we all kind of feel a bit kind of that could have been something that could have happened. But talking about the rest of the kind of cast. What else is the rest of this kind of cast? You've kind of got like the rest, like that is kind of like the main ones. The rest are just like, and this is already a little bit of an issue I have with this movie, there are far too many new characters that I just do not care about. Yeah, the female Jango Fett looks cool because that's a cool looking suit, and that's the kind of problem with Star Wars, you know. Like this character, why should I like this character? Because they've got a cool looking suit, and that's kind of it. It's the Boba Fett effect, really. That's the kind of the sad truth with that one. But quickly just talking about overall kind of the movie. Oh god, I really wanted to like this movie. I really did. Force Awakens I enjoyed. I really enjoyed Force Awakens. I still think, I'm going to say it right now, I think it's the best one out of the three. Last Jedi, I'm quite similar on what everyone kind of feels about that one. This one is like the most vanilla, like, out of the three. It's very kind of, it's okay, but I'm not excited of what I'm having here. And that's kind of my kind of grudge with it, I feel, because it's oh man, this is meant to be the end of the 9 movies, even though they clearly couldn't care less about the prequels, really. Let's be honest. There's stuff where they could have done stuff with the prequels, I think, but there was nice moments. There was nice which I'm going to say right now, though, as I said, this is a spoiler. I did like that they did like those little kind of voice roles, and there was a bit where Rey's like, oh, to the Jedi, it's like, oh, speak to me, and good old Samuel Jackson's like, with his beautiful, charming voice, like, get up! I like that kind of stuff. I liked hearing him, and there was Liam Neeson, I'm sure Ewan McGregor was there, and apparently there was a couple from Clone Wars and Rebels, and I was like, okay, right. I like that. Okay, right. You are connecting the kind of that was kind of nice stuff connecting the saga. So yes, okay, right. Let's talk about the good and the bad. So obviously talking about the good. What I liked good about this movie. What I liked good about this movie. I'm actually kind of like, I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm kind of a little bit struggling a little bit. The thing is, like, I generally didn't hate this movie, but I didn't love it. It's a movie where just things just happen, and I'm just sitting there, okay. It's a visually beautiful looking movie. It looks great. It really does. As I said, I like the performances. The music, God bless you, John Williams. I bloody love John Williams, but there was nothing in here that stood out to me that was like, I want to listen to that when I go home. I was really getting like into it where Rey and Kylo Ren was fighting, and I liked the choice, okay, that they went for more of the quiet. But then at the same time I was like, oh man, I do remember the music that they used to play for like Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, or the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and God, John Williams' music is really good in those moments, and it just all kind of falls flat a little bit, which I think is a shame. But then there's moments where I love Rey's theme, and I like how he kind of incorporated Rey's theme into the movie. I think that's one of the best things he did. With the John Williams, what he did with that trilogy, I think it's saying that though, that's a hard one, because there's nothing much to really chew on in terms of the music. There's nothing that sticks out to me. Rey's theme's the only one it does, and it's a great theme. It really is. Like I can't in my mind hum the First Order theme. Maybe I can if I really think about it, which is a hard thing to do. But like the Emperor theme, I feel like we can all, that dun 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 dun, dun, that really sticks to the brain. The First Order, I think, how does it go again? I can't remember how it goes, but I probably could if I had to think about it. But so I don't know, the music's, I want to love it, but there's a little bit of a disconnect, I think, overall with that one. So other good things. Give me another. Really like C-3PO actually. Anthony Daniels, I must say. There was some good stuff I liked. That they did there, and I like this is obviously, I said spoilers here, so it was nice that they brought back Han and Luke with looks like a different wig. He looked weird, I don't know why there, but I just like the idea of just seeing Harrison Ford, and Disney's like, would you maybe be interested in coming in? And I do believe I said this to my pals and they can agreed. I think he came back for Carrie, I'd like to think, because we know how Harrison Ford feels about Star Wars. He's kind of done with the franchise, but it was nice to see him back. But it was just interesting that he had stubble, and I was thinking to myself, like, Disney just saying to him, it's like, oh, excuse me, Mr. Ford, could you possibly maybe, trim off the beard? Han Solo doesn't have, like, stubble. It's like, I'm not sure enough, kid. I just picture that so well of just stuff, of just grumpy Harrison 8-year-old Ford, just like, if you want me to be in this movie, I'm having it like this. But it was nice to see him, and, he did a nice little moment with, obviously, it was a nice, parallel, as George Lucas's poetry, it all rhymes with each other. But that's kind of, I wasn't big on the action. There was nothing that really that stood out to me. So that means we're on to the bad. Oh boy. And the thing is, like, I don't have, like, anything that's, like, extremely, like, there's nothing in this, like, I feel like I hate with a passion. I think so, at least. As it says, I've only seen it once, but I don't think there's anything where I'm like, God, this is quite painful to watch. But just talking about the opening. So, they reveal in the first good couple of minutes, Christ, Palpatine is back. In fact, sorry, they actually reveal that in the opening crawl, which must have been something for someone who's not even seen the trailers. They must be reading that just going, what? Why is he back? Why is suddenly Palpatine back when there was no... There wasn't anything connections of Force Awakens and Last Jedi into... There was no breadcrumbs. There was nothing. That was a problem with me, and that was clearly an obvious problem with them as well. So they were like, we need to get a lot of exposition in the very first couple of minutes. And that doesn't work for a movie, because when you do that, there is nothing rest for the movie. I know the overall... The problem, like, I think the movie would have been more interesting if you started with their, like, and it was interesting how they were saying there is this eerie voice that's going about. It sounds mysterious. Maybe you don't hear it exactly as Palpatine, but that's what the movie is. They're trying to figure out what this dark force is. Oh my God, it's Palpatine? Come on, like, I'm not even a bloody Hollywood writer, and even that, like, surely other people, if you're watching this, surely you think that would make more sense to do as literally as a proper narrative for a movie. Like, to me, that makes more just sense in that kind of way, because when you just get it in those first couple of minutes, you're just left thinking, oh okay, there we go. None of that makes sense, but okay, and apparently Snoke and Vader were all a plan, actually, to get Kylo Ren, to make Kylo Ren. I think that was... Snoke looked like he was actually a clone, which I was really quite worried about. I was like, please don't do any more clone stuff, because clones don't work in Star Wars. I was fine with the actual Clone Wars, but I mean, like, there's been other stuff that they've tried to do that I've never really liked. But yes, I wasn't a big fan, and the pacing is very weird as well. I'm not the big, like, the editing was weird to me, especially in that kind of 20 minutes. It's very bang bang, oh, here's the action scene, here's the action scene. I'm like, fucking hell, Jesus Christ, okay, right, I get it, we got to do a Star Wars movie here. And as I kind of said in the opening, like, they do nothing at all with the cliffhanger that clearly happens at the end of Last Jedi, the fact that there's clearly a kid who has force powers. But no, Rey's the last Jedi. Rey's the last one. So I'm like, there's a problem here. This isn't a trilogy. It's just separate movies. I've just got loose connections to each other. That's what it really feels like. But yeah, just overall, like, I don't hate this movie. I don't love this movie. It just comes across as a bit kind of meh. I mean, if this is meant to be the last of it all, of the saga, until they do another ones. And this is it. This is what you give us. It's like that ending of, oh, here comes all different alliance and all that. That was so, like, I feel like Disney, like, saw that Marvel was doing what they did with Endgame. They're like, and they saw the audience. They're like, quick, do that in the Star Wars. But the fakeness didn't work the same. There was a problem. Like, I don't know if it was how it shot or how it was executed. I don't know, but there was no. Obviously, it was different with Endgame, because these were characters it was actual characters that died. So there was a bit more of a kind of triumph when they came back. There was just nothing of that really. I think when all the kind of the good ones came, really. And I talk about all that kind of stuff as well. The Rey Palpatine stuff, I couldn't care less, to be honest. And then she ends. It's like, oh no, I'm a Skywalker. It's like, no, you're not. You're not a Skywalker. You're a Palpatine. There's no point. Don't try that shit where this is meant to be the Rise of Skywalker. Should never have been called Rise of Skywalker. That was a dumb. Especially when you watch the movie, that is a dumb title that they used for this movie, because it feels like it just contradicts like so many things. I think overall, and it's just annoying. Like, they're making such a big deal about her parents and all that, and then it just feels a bit kind of. That's that. The Palpatine's old Bobby went inside that poor woman. oh God. Talking about Palpatine though, I do like Palpatine. Hearing his voice is great, and I like the look of him. He was almost kind of zombified looking. He had like bits falling off, and when he does get restored and back to his full power, I did like seeing that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not completely heartless. There is a part of me that does enjoy things. And I did like seeing that. I just miss seeing sets though. I mean, I don't think, is there any set in this movie apart from the First Order ships? I'm struggling to think a little bit, to be honest. I think the First Order ships are the only set I can think of. Like, even like the end of the the big Palpatine like stuff and all that, and it's just a giant CGI room, and that's quite. I was like, oh, that's a shame, because especially like that's what I like about Force Awakens. Force Awakens did go back to sets, and like they really tried to do that. And Last Jedi did it quite well as well, but this one it just feels like. It felt a little bit like it looked like it was a rush job. It was like, oh, we don't have time to do sets, just green screen, go. Which, at sense, also makes sense, because it's only like 2 years apart from each movie, while the previous Star Wars movies were always 3. So I don't know if that was an issue there. Yeah, that's all I've kind of got to say. Like, the cast are great, they're great. The writing is just some of the stuff is just bizarre to me. It really is. Like, and this overall trilogy has just been. Overall, it's all just, as I said, I do like the characters and I love the actors that play them. I kind of feel sorry for a lot of them. The visuals are great and all that. Some of the action's pretty good, but it's the narrative that's the problem, and that's what Star Wars is all about, is narrative, and that's the big issue with with this trilogy. And yeah, what a way to end this review, I tell you. But yes, okay, so I'd like to know what you guys think. Comment down below. Did you like this movie? Did you hate this movie? Did you love this movie? It's a Star Wars movie. It's going to have a mixed controversial. I know that's for sure. So yes, I'd like to know what you guys think. Comment down below. Let's have a little tit-tat, little discussion, shall we? So more videos in the future. Till then, see you later.